Va'et Hanan, first reading, Abraham, Chesed. And I pleaded with the Lord at that time, saying, Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth that can do according to your works and according to your mighty acts? Let me go over, I pray you, and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, those pleasant mountains and Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, and did not listen to me. And the Lord said to me, Enough of that. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah, and lift up your eyes westward, and northward, and southward, and eastward, and behold with your eyes, for you shall not go over this Jordan, but command Yehoshua, and encourage him, and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you shall see. So we stayed in the valley opposite Beit Peor. And now, Israel, listen to the statutes and to the ordinances which I teach you to observe, that you may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did in Baal Peor. For all the men that followed the Baal of Peor, the Lord your God has destroyed them from the midst of you. But you that did cleave to the Lord your God, every one of you are alive this day. Va'et Hanan, second reading, Isaac, Gevuah. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the midst of the land where you go in to possess. Observe, therefore, and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, that when they hear all these statutes shall say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God so near to them as the Lord our God is whenever we call upon him? And what great nation is there that has statutes and ordinances as righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself, and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes saw, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life, but make them known to your children and your children's children, the day that you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, Assemble me the people, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And you came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the heart of heaven, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of words, but you saw no form, only a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, the 10 utterances, and he wrote them upon 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land that you pass over to possess. Therefore take careful heed to yourselves, for you saw no manner of form on the day that the Lord spoke to you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you deal corruptly and make you a graven image, even the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the heaven, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth. And lest you lift up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the hosts of heaven, you be drawn away and worship them, and serve them, which the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance, as you are this day. Now the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I should not go over the Jordan, and that I should not go into that good land, which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over the Jordan, but you are to go over and possess that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, even the likeness of anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have been long in the land, and shall deal corruptly, and make a graven image, even the form of any thing, and shall do that which is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, to provoke him. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land where you go over the Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the peoples, and you shall be left few in number among the nations, where the Lord shall lead you away. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But from thence you will seek the Lord your God, and you shall find him, if you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. In your distress, when all these things are come upon you, in the end of days, you will return to the Lord your God, and hearken to his voice. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, nor destroy you, or forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore to them. For ask now of the days past, which were before you, since the day that God created man upon the earth, and from the one end of heaven to the other, whether there has been any such thing as great as this thing, or has been heard like it. Did ever a people hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or has God ever tried to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? To you it was shown, that you might know that the Lord, he is God. There is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made you hear his voice, that he might instruct you. And upon earth he made you to see his great fire, and you did hear his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, and chose their seed after them, and brought you out of Egypt with his presence and with his great power, to drive out nations from before you greater and mightier than you, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance, as it is this day. Know this day, and lay it to your heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else. And you shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you, and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days upon the land which the Lord your God gives you forever. Va'et Hanan, third reading, Jacob, Tiferet. Then Moses separated 3 cities beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, that the murderer might flee there, that slay his neighbor unawares, and hated him not in time past, and that fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Betzer in the wilderness, in the plateau for the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for the Menashites. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinances which Moses spoke to the children of Israel when they came forth out of Egypt. Beyond the Jordan, in the valley over against Beit Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel smote when they came forth out of Egypt. And they took his land in possession, in the land of Og, king of Bashan, the two kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, until Mount Sion, the same is Hermon, and all the Arabah, beyond the Jordan eastward, until the sea of the Arabah, under the slopes of Pisgah. Va'et Hanan, fourth reading, Moses, Netzach. And Moses called to all Israel, and said to them, Hear, Israel, the statutes and the ordinances which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them and observe them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, only us, who are all of us here alive this day. The Lord spoke with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time, to declare to you the word of the Lord. For you were afraid because of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make to you a graven image, any manner of likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the third and upon the fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy to the 1,000th generation of them that love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days shall you labor, and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath unto the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any manner of work, neither you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And you shall remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there by a mighty hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, that your days may be long, and that it may go well with you upon the land which the Lord your God gives you. You shall not murder, neither shall you commit adultery, neither shall you steal, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor, neither shall you covet your neighbor's wife, nor shall you desire your neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. Va'et Hanan, fifth reading, Aaron, Hod. These words the Lord spoke to all your assembly in the mountain out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice, and it went on no more. And he wrote them upon 2 tablets of stone, and gave them to me. And it came to pass, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, while the mountain did burn with fire, that you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and you said, See, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God does speak with man, and he lives. Now, therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have, and lived? You go near and hear all that the Lord our God may say, and you shall speak to us all that the Lord our God may speak to you, and we will hear it and do it. And the Lord heard the voice of your words when you spoke to me, and the Lord said to me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken to you. They have said well all that they have spoken. Oh, that they had such a heart as this always, to fear me and keep all my commandments, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go, say to them, Return to your tents. But as for you, stand you here by me. And I will speak to you all the commandment, and the statutes, and the ordinances which you shall teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess. You shall observe to, therefore, do as the Lord your God has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. You shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. Now these are the commandment, the statutes, and the ordinances which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess, that you might fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command you, you and your son, and your son's son, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear, therefore, Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised to you, a land flowing with milk and honey. Va'et Hanan, sixth reading, Joseph, Yesod. Hear, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates. And it shall be when the Lord your God shall bring you into the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you the great and goodly cities which you did not build, and houses full of all good things which you did not fill, and cisterns hewn out which you did not hew, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Then beware lest you forget the Lord who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall fear the Lord your God, and him shall you serve, and by his name shall you swear. You shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the peoples that are around you, for a jealous God, the Lord your God, is in the midst of you, lest the anger of the Lord your God be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not try the Lord your God as you tried him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies and his statutes, which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the good land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to thrust out all your enemies from before you, as the Lord has spoken. When your son asks you in time to come, saying, What do the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinances which the Lord our God has commanded you mean? Then you shall say to your son, We were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And the Lord showed signs and wonders, great and severe, upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his house before our eyes. And he brought us out from there, that he might bring us in, to give us the land which he swore to our fathers. And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be righteousness unto us, if we observe to do this entire commandment before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us. Va'et Hanan, 7th reading, David, Malchut. When the Lord your God shall bring you into the land where you go to possess, and shall cast out many nations before you, the Hittite, and the Girgashite, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when the Lord your God shall deliver them up before you, and you shall smite them, then you shall utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give to his son, nor his daughter shall you take to your son. For he will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and he will destroy you quickly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall break down their altars, and dash in pieces their pillars, and hew down their asherim, and burn their graven images with fire. For you are a holy people unto the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be his own treasure. Out of all peoples that are upon the face of the earth, the Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all peoples. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers, has the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Va'et Hanan, Maftiyo. Know, therefore, that the Lord your God, he is God, the faithful God, who keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments for 1,000 generations, and repays them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hates him. He will repay him to his face. You shall therefore keep the commandment and the statutes and the ordinances which I command you this day to do them. Haftarah of Va'et Hanan, Isaiah 40:1-26. Comfort you, my people, says your God. Bid Jerusalem take heart, and proclaim to her that her time of service is accomplished, that her guilt is paid off, that she has received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. Hark, one calls, you clear in the wilderness the way of the Lord, make plain in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the rugged shall be made level, and the rough places a plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. Hark, one says, cry out, and he says, what shall I cry out? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flower fades, because the breath of the Lord blows upon it. Surely the people are grass. The grass withers, the flowers fade, but the word of our God shall stand forever. You that tell good tidings to Zion, get you up into the high mountain. You that tell good tidings to Jerusalem, lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say to the cities of Yehudah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord God will come as a mighty one, and his arm will rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his reward before him. Even as a shepherd that feeds his flock, that gathers the lambs in his arm, and carries them in his bosom, and gently leads those that suckle. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with a span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance? Who has meted out the Spirit of the Lord? Or who was his counselor that he might instruct him? With whom took he counsel? And who instructed him, and taught him in the path of right, and taught him knowledge, and made him to know the way of discernment? Behold, the nations are as a drop in a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, the isles are as a mote in weight, and Lebanon is not sufficient fuel, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for burnt offerings. All the nations are as nothing before him. They are accounted by him as things of naught and vanity. To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare unto him? The image, perchance, which the craftsman has melted, and the goldsmith spread over with gold, the silversmith casting silver chains. A holm oak is set apart. He chooses a tree that will not rot. He seeks to him a cunning craftsman to set up an image that shall not be moved. Know you not? Hear you not? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood the foundations of the earth? It is he that sits above the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretch out the heavens as a curtain, and spread them out as a tent to dwell in, that bring princes to nothing. He makes the judges of the earth as a thing of naught. Scarce are they planted, scarce are they sown, and scarce has their stalk taken root in the earth. When he blows upon them, they wither, and the whirlwind takes them away as stubble. To whom then will you liken me, that I should be equal, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes on high and see, who has created these? He that brings out their host by number, he calls them all by name, by the greatness of his might, and for that he is strong in power, not one fails.